This happened just 3 years ago, not far from where we're sitting right now. A group of college friends, Mark, Sarah, Jake, and Emma, decided to go camping in these very woods for their annual reunion. They'd been doing it since freshman year, but this time felt different. This time they had something new. Jake had just gotten one of those fancy satellite communicators, the kind that can send messages even when there's no cell service. Just in case, he said, but they all laughed. What could go wrong on a simple camping trip? They set up camp right by Miller's Creek, about 2 miles deeper into the forest than we are now. As the sun set on their first night, they gathered around the fire, just like we are, telling stories and roasting marshmallows. Everything was perfect, until Emma noticed something odd. "Did you guys hear that?" she asked, tilting her head toward the darkness beyond their circle of light. They all went quiet. Nothing but the usual forest sounds. Wind through branches, the creek babbling, an owl somewhere in the distance. "Hear what?" Sarah asked. It sounded like static, like an old radio trying to find a station. Mark laughed. "Emma, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no radio signal out here." But Jake, he wasn't laughing. He was staring at his satellite communicator, frowning. "That's weird," he said. "I'm getting a message." "What kind of message?" Sarah leaned over to look at the small screen. Jake's face went pale. "It says, 'Help us. Trapped at Miller's Creek. Day 3. Food running low. Please send help.'" "Very funny," Mark said. "Who's pranking us?" "I'm serious." Jake held up the device. "Look at the coordinates. It's coming from right here, from our exact location." Emma shivered and moved closer to the fire. "That's not possible. We just got here." Jake checked the timestamp on the message. His hands started to shake. This was sent 4 days from now. They all stared at him. The forest around them had gone completely silent. No wind, no creek, no owl, just the crackling of their fire. "That's impossible," Sarah whispered. "Check it again." Jake fumbled with the device, his fingers clumsy with sudden fear. The date is right. 4 days from now. But how can someone send a message from the future? Mark grabbed the communicator. There has to be an explanation. Maybe it's a glitch, or maybe someone else is camping nearby and their GPS is messed up. But as he scrolled through the message history, his confident expression faded. There were more messages, all from the same coordinates, all from future dates. Day 4. Sarah hurt her ankle. Can't move fast. Please hurry. Day 5. Found something in the woods. We shouldn't have come here. Day 6. It's watching us. Don't come looking. Save yourselves. The final message made them all go cold. Day 7. We understand now. We're not leaving. We're staying with it forever. Tell our families we're sorry. Emma was backing away from the fire now. We need to leave. Right now. Wait, Jake said, his voice barely a whisper. He was still staring at the screen. There's one more message. It just came in. His hands were trembling so badly he could barely read it. It's behind you. They spun around as one, looking into the darkness beyond their circle of light. At first, they saw nothing. Then slowly their eyes adjusted. Something was standing between the trees. It was tall, impossibly tall, and thin, like a shadow stretched upward. But it wasn't quite a shadow, because shadows don't have eyes. And this thing had eyes everywhere. Along its arms, across what might have been its chest, clustered where a face should be. All of them watching, all of them blinking in different rhythms. Sarah screamed. The thing took a step forward, and when its foot touched the ground, the very air seemed to ripple. The fire flickered and dimmed. Run, Mark shouted. They scattered into the darkness, leaving their camp, their supplies, everything behind. They ran blindly through the forest, branches tearing at their clothes, rocks tripping them up. Behind them, they could hear something moving through the trees. Not walking, but flowing, like water finding its way downhill. Jake still clutched the satellite communicator as he ran. It kept beeping with new messages, all from future dates, all more desperate than the last. He tried to turn it off, but the screen would not go dark. The messages kept coming. It's following us. We can't get back to the trail. Emma's gone. It took Emma. Sarah's acting strange. I don't think it's really Sarah anymore. I'm alone now. It's playing with me, sending these messages to itself, to us. We never had a choice. Jake threw the device away and kept running. He ran until his lungs burned, until his legs gave out, until dawn broke through the trees. When the forest rangers found him 12 hours later, he was sitting by the highway, staring at nothing, mumbling about messages from the future. Mark and Sarah were found 2 days later, wandering the woods in a daze. They had no memory of how they'd gotten separated, no memory of the thing in the forest. When questioned, they just kept saying they had a nice camping trip and couldn't understand why everyone was so worried. But Emma was never found. The official report said she'd probably fallen into the creek and been swept away. But Jake knew better. He had seen the last message on the communicator before he'd thrown it away. Emma is with us now. She likes it here. She says to tell you she's not Emma anymore. The strangest part? 3 months later, Jake got a package in the mail. Inside was his satellite communicator, the same one he had thrown in the forest. There was a note with it, in Emma's handwriting. "Thanks for the camping trip. Had such a great time, I decided to stay. The forest is so beautiful this time of year. You should come back soon. We're all waiting for you. P.S. Check your messages." Jake never turned on that device again. He keeps it in a box in his basement, unplugged, batteries removed. But sometimes, late at night, he swears he can still hear it beeping. And sometimes, on very quiet nights, he gets text messages on his regular phone. They're always from Emma's number, even though her phone was never found. And the messages are always the same. "Come back to Miller's Creek. We miss you." They say if you camp at Miller's Creek now, you might get messages too. Messages from the future, warning you about what's going to happen. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Those warnings aren't trying to help you escape. They're part of the trap. Because once you know what's going to happen, you can't help but make it happen. You become part of the story, part of the pattern. And eventually, you'll be sending messages too, trying to warn the next group of campers about the thing in the woods that watches with 1,000 eyes. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is just a story, right? Just something to give you chills around the campfire. But before we all go to sleep tonight, maybe someone should check if any of us brought a satellite communicator. You know, just to be safe. Because Miller's Creek isn't that far from here. And the thing that lives there, well, they say it's always looking for new friends.